I would like to call to order the Monday, March 17th, 2025 meeting of the Lake Zurich Village Board. Kyle Cordell sitting in for Kathleen Johnson. Would you please call the roll?
Mayor Poynton.
Here.
Trustee Euchre.
Here.
Trustee Marks.
Here.
Trustee Riley. Here. Trustee Spicone.
Present.
Trustee Chagru.
Here.
Trustee Wider.
Present.
You have a quorum, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Would you please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No? Okay, next item on the agenda is public comment. Public comment is an opportunity for residents to comment briefly on matters included on the agenda and otherwise of interest to the Board of Trustees. Public comment is limited to 30 minutes in total and up to 5 minutes per speaker. We will take public comments first from the sign-in sheet in the order in which folks signed in. When you step to the podium, please speak clearly into the microphone, identify yourself with your name and address for the record, and direct your comments to the board. I don't think there's anybody on the list, but we'll give the people in the audience one more chance. If anybody have any public comments in the audience? I don't see anybody making a move. So then we'll move on to the next item, close public comment, and move on to the President's report. The one item on the President's report, and that is the advice and consent needed to appoint Brian McGill to a new 3-year term on the Fire Pension Board through April 30th of 2028. The Fire Pension Board is a 5-member board that is tasked with managing public pension dollars. They do this by reviewing various types of pension applications and either granting or denying requests from the sworn personnel of the fire department. Brian plays a crucial role in this process, helping to ensure financial stability and future retirement benefits for our firefighter paramedics. A little background on Brian. He has served on the Lake Zurich Fire Pension Board since 2022, and his first term is coming to an end. Throughout his career, Brian has established himself as a finance professional, as the manager of finance and business operations for both Soros and MSI Technology, where he serves as the lead finance person for both companies. In his first term on the Lake Zurich Fire Pension Board, Brian has become a valuable addition, providing insightful analysis and transforming financial data to ensure well-informed pension decisions. He's lived in Lake Zurich for almost 20 years and is active in the community as a coach with Ela Soccer and Play Hard Hoops Sports Club. He is also the current president of the Braemar Homeowners Association. Brian holds a Bachelor's of Accountancy from Northern Illinois University and a Master's of Business Administration from Lake Forest Graduate School of Management. As usual, my goal has always been to tap and match as best we can the background experience, education qualifications, skills, talents, and available time of potential volunteers to positions on our advisory boards and commissions. So at this point, I'm going to ask the board, are there any additional comments or questions from the board as they have received this information this past week? Nope. Okay, so then, with the advice and consent of the full board, may I have a motion and a second to approve the appointment of Mr. Brian McGill to his second term on the Fire Pension Board with a new 3-year term to end April 30th, 2028.
So moved. Oh.
Go ahead.
So moved, Euchre.
Second, Wider.
Wider, and Kyle, please call the roll.
Trustee Chagru.
Aye.
Euchre.
Aye.
Spicone. Aye. Wider.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Marks.
Aye.
Okay, Brian has been approved, so thank you for that. That's the end of the President's report. We'll move on now to the consent agenda. The titles on the consent agenda will be read by the clerk and approved by a single roll call vote. Any item may be pulled from the consent agenda for discussion or separate vote by any member of the board. Kyle, would you please read the titles? Slow.
A to K. Here we go. Approval of minutes from the board meeting of March 3rd, 2025. Approval of the executive session minutes from the board meeting of February 18th, 2025. Approval of the semi-monthly warrant register dated March 17th, 2025, totaling $367,428.17. A reduction in the letter of credit to $35,487 for North Star Pickle at 629 Rose Road. IDOT resolution for motor fuel tax maintenance under the Illinois Highway Code in the amount not to exceed $525,709. An agreement with Blue Stem Ecological Services for 2025 Natural Area Maintenance Program in the amount not to exceed $187,495. A resolution authorizing the Village of Lake Zurich to enter into a contract for community solar through the Northern Illinois Municipal Electric Collaborative bid process. An agreement with Patriot Pavement Maintenance for 2025 seal coating and striping in the amount not to exceed $53,999. An agreement with Crown Industries for replacement of a fuel island system in the amount not to exceed $400,000. A 3-year agreement with Alpine Automotive for police towing services. And finally, an issuance of a Class C convenience store liquor license to Shree Hart Ventures and revocation of a Class C convenience store liquor license from B&K Enterprises.
Okay, thank you. Any board questions, or is any discussion desired on any item, or would you like any item pulled for a separate vote? No? Okay, then may I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved, Riley.
Second, Shagru.
Kyle, please call the roll.
Trustee Weider.
Aye.
Trustee Shagru.
Aye.
Trustee Spicone.
Aye.
Trustee Euchre.
Aye.
Trustee Marks.
Aye.
Trustee Riley.
Aye.
Okay, the consent agenda passes. We move on to new business, item 7A, Trustee Spicone.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Please bear with me as I make an adjustment to some new glasses, which are progressive, so trying to make that move. So I may read these a little funny. Here we go.
You mean funnier.
Funnier. Funny how?
Yeah. Funny, haha.
Item 7A, new business, an agreement with Copenhagen Construction Incorporated for the Main Street beautification, Church Street Transmission Water Main Phase 1, and Whitney Road Utility Reconstruction Project in the amount not to exceed $13,161,649.67. I love that we got it down to 67 cents. Summary. Since the early 2000s, the Village of Lake Zurich has envisioned a streetscaped Main Street extending through the heart of the community. Pairing input from the comprehensive plan update process with the engineering for necessary infrastructure improvements, the village announced a request for bids to implement this vision. The scope of the work includes streetscaping along Main Street, a new water transmission main at Church Street, lead service line replacements, and road surface, water main, sanitary sewer, and stormwater improvements along Main Street, Whitney Road, and Lake Zurich Drive. The solicitation process yielded 4 bids, with Copenhagen Construction Incorporated of Gilbert's, Illinois, providing the lowest responsible bid of $11,545,306.73. With engineering inspection costs and a healthy contingency, the project will have a not-to-exceed cost of $13,161,649.67. The project will rely on capital funding from a combination of sources that were identified in the fiscal year 2025 budget: $4 million from the village's non-home rule fund, $7.2 million from the Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund, and $2 million from the Capital Projects Fund. If approved, the construction project will start mid-April and will likely extend through the end of the year.
Okay, thank you. Mike Brown.
A lot of moving parts on this one. It's not 13 billion, by the way. It's
No.
13 million.
13 million.
I just want to go through a couple things. So just to put it in perspective of what we're talking about when I say a lot of things that are incorporated in this project is there's over a mile of paving. There's 73,000 square feet of sidewalks, planters, bioswales, additional pedestrian areas for enhancements. There's 2,800 feet of sanitary sewer main to be replaced. There's another 2,800 feet of sewer main to be lined. There's over 2,900 feet of sanitary services to be replaced. 3,300 feet of water main. There's 20 lead service lines, 560 feet of stormwater, 40 trees being planted on this project, and over 14,000 perennials and native plantings to include in this project. So a lot of moving parts. As you mentioned, I think we're going to get started a little sooner if the board approves tonight, probably more to like the last week in March, and then take it through the end of the year. This is something that's been in the works in the CIP for quite a while. There's some great enhancements, like I said, for pedestrian improvements. There's a branding at Main Street and Old Rand in the intersection. On there, you'll see a couple of slides that will show it. So yeah, a lot of moving parts again. Kind of proud of this one for sure. This is rebuilding our downtown, kind of the vision that was sought after many, many years ago, pre-market crash in 2008. And so we're picking up the ball and finally taking it across the goal line. We've waited for many years to let development happen. And I think we're at the point where hopefully this can spark some energy and get some other things moving in our downtown.
And I think an important component of that is that it's fully funded and budgeted already for. So we have the money for this. We're not going out for any extra to make this happen.
Absolutely.
That's what happens when you plan,
Shocking.
right?
Shocking, isn't
You
it?
put together a comprehensive plan, things happen to fall in place, and you can budget for things.
Okay. Comments from the board besides Mark? Nope. How about down here?
Yeah, Mike, could
William?
you explain any impacts that this redevelopment would have if there was redevelopment within the businesses or units that line the streets today?
If there's redevelopment,
If there's development along the streets today and the businesses that reside there?
so I'm not going to lie, there will be plenty of interruptions, whether it's traffic interruptions. There will be roads closed. There will be complete openings in the roadway. Our goal is to, if this is approved tonight, hit the ground running with the businesses tomorrow. That's the biggest concern, is the impacts and working with them to make sure we know when their deliveries are coming, make sure their patrons can get there, and so keep everyday life happening. So there will be impacts. But again, the goal is to work very closely with all the business owners downtown.
Perfect, thank you, appreciate it.
Anybody else? Well, I think we've seen this before. We're ready to roll. We're ready to get something done. With regard to the utilities, can you just give me an idea of what, or the public an idea of what some of the utility improvements will be?
So
I know some of the things like lead pipes, we're getting rid of some of that stuff.
yeah, this is, we have a couple of components. We have aged infrastructure, as I mentioned. We have sanitary that's 60, 80 plus years old. We have water mains that are same thing, 60 plus 80 years old. We're taking some of the lead services out, which our initiative is to have those out of place before we turn the taps for Lake Michigan water, and lining some lines that just getting another 60, 80 years out of them, hopefully. And then, it's storm sewer improvements. We'll do, hopefully have some better drainage in our downtown. We'll have some bioswales to have a more greener approach as well. So a lot of moving parts here.
So in the past, we put flowers on the poles for the summertime, and the trustees have volunteered to water those. With 14,000 plants, will the trustees have to water those?
Yeah. So some irrigation will be in where it's feasible to do so. In other areas, there will be watering, but we're including those in future contracts. We are gonna delay the baskets till later in the year. We just think it would be prudent, no sense of having the baskets out in the middle of a construction zone. I'd hate to see Kathleen Johnson, our clerk, or others taking the golf carts off-road in this situation. So we'll delay those till later in the year. We'll be
Okay.
probably closer to Rock to Block, and hopefully we'll be cleaning some things up by then.
So when you get started, where will you start first? Because we've already kind of started with the redo of the promenade,
Yeah, we've had,
which isn't included in this, right?
there is some work, not at the promenade. I mean, we have to finish up from last year, but in the general vicinity there is. Across on the frontage of Block A, and there'll be medians, traffic calming, slowing people down, give it more of that pedestrian safe area kind of feel to it. We've got our own schedule, but we're meeting with the contractor. If approved tonight, we'll meet with them this Friday. And our intent was to start on the east side and work our way west with the infrastructure, and then working back with the paving and landscaping improvements. But I did have an initial conversation with our contractor to be approved. They're thinking they want to be more aggressive than that. So we may start on both the east and west and then come back to the middle. So we'll have more to come after the pre-con, and then we'll be sending out those schedules probably early to late next week.
And you are going to meet with the business owners individually and discuss this with them?
If approved tonight, the plan is to hit the streets tomorrow, the next day, and continue on. And just so everybody has an understanding of what's going to take place.
Okay. Last time. William?
Mike, one more thing. Could you delineate, I know this is phase one, could you delineate between phase one and future phases just at a very high level, just for everyone to kind of know that what information or what changes will happen in each of those phases?
So there's a couple of phase ones that are taking place. And when we talk about phase one of the Church Street water main, that is the first phase for our Lake Michigan improvements. And that is to get the improvements out of Main Street so we can do this work. Phase two will come when we have the design, so probably more like 27-ish, and then we'll be replacing the infrastructure all the way to our receiving point. And phase one on the beautification project, is all of Main Street. And then phase two would be South O'Ram, which is overhead utilities will be relocated, and then the same streetscape design that we're having on Main Street. And that's 2026 if all goes well.
Okay. Anybody? Nobody else? Okay. Mark?
All right, well then I would like to make a motion to award an agreement with Copenhagen Construction Incorporated of Gilbert's, Illinois, for the Main Street Beautification Project, Church Street Transmission Phase 1, and Whitney Road Utility Reconstruction Project for $11,545,306.73, with a total project expenditure including contingency not to exceed $13,161,649.67.
And a second, please.
Second, Marks.
And would you please call the roll, Kyle?
Trustee Spacone,
Aye.
Wyder,
Aye.
Riley,
Aye.
Marks,
Aye.
Shagru,
Aye.
Trustee Euchre.
Aye.
Hit the road running tomorrow.
I thought you were going to give me your famous line that you usually do.
That's an obscene remark. I'm past that for the moment. But don't screw it up.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item, Trustee Marks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. New business item B, ordinance amending certain provisions of the Lake Zurich Municipal Code to amend and adopt the official comprehensive plan assigned ordinance number 2025-03-605. In summary, since the last update to the village's comprehensive plan in 2003, the community has experienced significant economic, social, and physical changes. In 2023, the village issued a request for proposal, an RFP, and selected Tesca Associates to update the comprehensive plan to provide more relevant guidance for future community development efforts. The resulting Lake Zurich Together comprehensive plan reflects Lake Zurich's transition from an expanding suburb to a community focused on infill and redevelopment opportunities and on enhancing the quality of life enjoyed by its residents. The process included extensive public involvement to incorporate the community's desires into the plan recommendations. The new comprehensive plan will be implemented over time as new development proposals are considered. Its recommendations will also be reflected in future planning efforts like the upcoming Master Parks update and in future village endeavors, like the aforementioned Main Street Streetscape project. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing on January 15th, 2025, and recommended adoption of the 2025 official comprehensive plan by a vote of 6-0. The provided ordinance amends the municipal code to reflect the adoption of the updated Lake Zurich Together comprehensive plan as the village's official guiding policy for future community development.
Okay. Sarosh.
Thank you, Mayor. So continuing with the excitement, we've now come to the culmination of a 2-year process when we started in 2023, the update to our official comprehensive plan. Through a rigorous set of exercises and public meetings, which included series of interviews with village staff, external stakeholders, the community itself, and through public informational meetings, even a booth at the farmers market, a website dedicated to the project, and the village's benchmark newsletters, we now have the document being presented before you for adoption as our 2025 Lake Zurich Together official comprehensive plan. Throughout this entire process, the Planning and Zoning Commission has served as the steering committee, providing guidance and feedback to the consultants and staff. The document is now complete, and we have Tesca Associates this evening and their consulting team here to present the document to you. So if you'd like to get to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. 73,000 square feet of sidewalk. I wrote that one down. That's what we call fun and fundamentals. Good evening. My name is Erin Sigliano with Tesca Associates, Principal Project Manager on the Comprehensive Plan. And after 18 months of working on it, we're really excited to bring it forward for adoption, review, discussion tonight. I'm joined by Francesca Lawrence, also with Tesca Associates, as well as Ryan Peterson with Epstein Global. Before we get started, and I promise we'll keep it short and snappy, my name is Erin, and today is a holiday. I want to say thank you. Thank you for all the time invested, near, afar, tuning in. I also want to acknowledge and thank everyone who contributed to shaping this plan. As Sarosh mentioned, it doesn't seem so long ago that we were set up at the farmer's market pop-up between the old Coots tent and the pickle guy, just trying to imagine what this plan could be with the public. And here we are. Of course, no single plan succeeds on its own. The real power lies in all of you, the board, the PZC, our trustee steering committee, staff, and our community partners. Implementation will take collaboration, investment, and a commitment to action. So new from our last presentation before the steering committee, we have that action documented. So that's the new fold of our meeting tonight, is the implementation chapter. I'd also like to say special thanks to Ray Keller, Sarosh, Kyle, he just left, who've been on this journey with us month after month for 18 months. We've talked every single one of those, if not once, multiple times per month to make sure we were on the straight and narrow. Our team fell in love with Lake Zurich. You all are genuine, authentic. You have a wonderful sense of humor, as Old Coots welcomed us in on our very first event. So with that, I want to just dive in and hit on a few high points and really welcome any discussion and questions. I also want to note that we're kind of operating under the assumption that you've had the opportunity to tune into the depth rolled out in the prior Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. So with that. Ooh, buzzes. All right. So this is our agenda for the evening. First and foremost, who are we? You know us. But Tesca and Epstein are very disciplinary firm. So I hope what really comes through as part of this plan is the depth with implementation. We know how to bring things start to finish, given the breadth that are in our own offices. Just some of the familiar faces. Todd, who's not here with us, but played a very involved role at the front end with eGrid and Ox. And of course, our team extends much beyond ourselves. The whole Lake Zurich community was really reflected in this. Thank you to all who were able to come out to our community open house. We had nearly 70 people there. And as you previously heard, we were really grateful to receive a unanimous recommendation by the Planning and Zoning Commission. 18 months to bring us to where we are at today. This plan truly is created for and with the community. As I was going through and creating this short and sweet presentation, I don't want to give you all vertigo here, but these are all the documentation of the engagement. Yes, we hang on to it. Yes, we distill it. You can think of Tesca as that printer on the left, kind of marinating in, distilling the information, and then sharing it back. But quite literally, we have the best paper airplane to the future as part of this plan. And if anyone needs paper, we have it. A quick overview of the really unique elements that I want to hit on. This is absolutely a comprehensive plan for Lake Zurich. The design guidelines will give you ample traction in terms of going forward with reviewing development proposals and leaning into different aspects that you want to meet aesthetically, site design, building design. It has really important access mobility strategies. This goes hand in hand with streetscape, the Main Street Framework Plan. It also has some really thrifty placemaking recommendations. We heard at the Planning and Zoning Commission, you want some quick wins. Thrifty placemaking recommendations, activations you can do, low cost, high win, those are also outlined. All of this is building on your strengths, and we want to supercharge you for success there. We also want to touch on just a few of the housing considerations, because these are important. These are part of the community design and development chapter. We heard a great deal from the community about senior housing, about aging in place. People want to continue to live in Lake Zurich. The U.S., by 2030, all boomers will be over the age of 65, and by 2034, those 65 and older will surpass those 18 and younger. This is something facing communities all throughout the nation, and it's important. So as you move into implementing a comprehensive plan, thinking through housing strategies or annexation, does it make sense? These are some of the stats that are important to keep front and center, because people love to live in Lake Zurich and want to continue to do so. The other aspect with housing is gentle density. This is kind of a fun term that we use in planning, but it's where are those opportunities where we can put more feet on the street to activate the Main Street district? And what is the quality and aesthetic of the types of buildings, the scale that should go in there? A really great example of this is Lake Zurich Florist, where they were able to add 2 units above within a mixed-use structure. Putting feet on the street puts buyers and shoppers within your Main Street district. It also is something that businesses look at in terms of orienting. Not to spend too much time on the remaining chapters, much of this has been highlighted, but the importance and the robust nature of the framework plan, please use this resource, share it. This is something that has a lot of traction to it in terms of all of the recommendations and chapters as part of the plan. These are just some of the different activations, those thrifty economic drivers that I touched on. These are really good for some of your park improvements as you think through them and what makes sense going forward with the upcoming proposal. Connectivity and mobility. Ryan is here to answer any questions. This is obviously a really important caveat and fold, a major one of the plan in terms of the locations and recommendations of different connectivity, shared use paths, protected ped bikeways. Our corridors and special areas hits on specific site location elements. So there's detailed call outs, both Route 12 as well as Route 22. We also provided a variety of different inspiration images to help convey the different concepts that are noted on. Sustainability and resilience and well-being details just that throughout. The landscaping, parks, preservation, Lake Michigan water front and center. And then finally, implementation. This can't be done just at the village level. This requires a lot of different partners and investments. So as part of this chapter specifically, we've included getting started as well as best practices for moving forward, maintaining transparency and momentum, reporting back. And then the structure, the anatomy of the matrix itself. Obviously, each of the strategies rely on other guiding forces. So we've noted that here. We also have inspiration. The bottom left is some chainsaw art that could be instilled as part of a number of different creative placemaking initiatives. So with that, that's where I put my happy raise hand gifts. Waves of heartfelt thanks again. And I am not lying, I do have some gold chocolate coins. Happy to take questions and dive deeper. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Erin. When you talked about slide 6, I think from what I've seen of the presentation, that's one of the most important slides that we have, because that identifies some things that we've done, some things that we can do, and some things we actually did one of them tonight with the downtown streetscape. But I would think that the comprehensive plan, which has been a long time coming, and Mike's 20-year CIP would work hand in hand as we move forward to implement. And none of this stuff is going to happen overnight. This is a 20-year CIP. We have identified for the next 20 years what we need to replace and spend money on. And this will be part of that plan as well. We'll be reviewing that to implement things into the 20-year CIP. So,
Absolutely.
opening up to the trustees. Any comments starting down at this end?
I'll just say thank you. It was a it sounds 18 months is a long time, but you did a great job. I appreciate all the partnership from all the respective areas. So no questions. Thank you.
Just a quick thanks. You guys have been present at a lot of the stuff that I've been present at, so I just want to say thank you for not only working with our village staff to create a plan, but working with our residents. That was very evident, if to no one else, to me. So thank you for your time and thank you for your effort.
I'll be brief. You kept coming back after you met the old coots, which means you did a lot of good work, so thank you.
You're done? I'm done. Okay, okay.
I just want to say thanks for being so positive. Everything that you said tonight and throughout this entire process, all of I've seen from you and your group is positivity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounding like a broken record, but thank you. You could tell that the plan itself is very deliberate in vision with the rest of the staff and what their vision is and our planning. I can also tell that you've immersed yourself in the community and you understand our values and what's important to us and as a community what we're looking forward to. So I thought the plan was very well done. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Jake?
Last but not least, Aaron, Francie, Ryan, I think I've been interacting with you guys the longest, and I just want to thank you all for your hard work. But not to be a broken record, I do have a question. One of the things you state in your report is that this doesn't happen in a vacuum. This board alone cannot make these things happen. It's going to take both the business community and the members of the community, the people that live here, to make some of these things foster. What can we do as a board to ensure that we're remaining accessible and open to the community when it comes to implementing new ideas like this, or being open to receive their ideas. Because I think that was one of the big takeaways that I remember when I was on the PZC is some of the best advocates and some of the best champions are those in the community. What's a tip, or what's your best advice for us going and finding those people, or having open conduits to receive those people and have them be critical members of how we develop?
Yeah, great question. And I know we looked at capacity building too as part of it. I think you all do a remarkable job with communications and putting things out in creative ways and benchmarks. I think having transparency in terms of progress is always good, which you're already doing. I think too, we've built in here about where is that bandwidth within the community best harnessed, and how can you invite that energy and need. A lot of it too comes in terms of the public-private relationship building among businesses and that transparency. The streetscape is going to be a conduit of that, because it's such an important project that will entail that engagement with the community. So that can also be a really strong cohesion builder, ironically, right? But that process does build community and investment. And some of those activities, the creative placemaking, those are really great projects. You're already implementing so many of the tactile, the crosswalks, the painted crosswalks, thinking through and flagging what opportunities relative to whether it's the community gardens, or we talked about curling, outdoor curling, right, which could be a winter event. By doing those somewhat low-hanging fruit, easy, I won't call them layups, but more easy implementable projects, they become conduits by building connections with other areas. What do people do for their day jobs, and what expertise do they have? So keep pulling the thread from those and having steady points of reporting back to the community in terms of the transparency. And with the annual State of the Village, those are all great opportunities, and to continue to refine what works for you in terms of those communication outlets. We don't typically like to set requirements of quarterly. What works for you will work best for the community in terms of that transparency. But those are just some of the more organic ways where you really start to build that capacity.
That's perfect. Thank you.
I think that if you look at where this community is, this board is, and this staff is, we're at that level. We're at that highest level of transparency when you compare us to other communities around us. And we'll continue to be at that high level as long as we're still here. I'd also like to account for the businesses in town who are doing their best to make this a better place. Matt Lovejoy is the flower shop guy, as you said. He didn't make 2 spots upstairs. He's got 4 spots upstairs.
Oh, excellent.
The new Craving Euros building on the corner of Main Street, we have a new owner, and he's put a lot of money into that. He's sitting here in the back right now. All that stuff helps make it better, including Mike's downtown landscape plan. We're pretty much a built-out community. We have a couple of big spots, Thorns too, that we would like to get developed and work on. So, but don't ever get the idea that because we're not up here now as we approve this, and the same with the downtown landscape plan, that we haven't communicated all that we're doing to the community. 18 months of communication for this comprehensive plan. It took me 2 years to get this thing going, and now we have 18 months of transparency in every way, shape, and form. The same way with the downtown landscape. If anybody says, I didn't know about it, then they're not paying attention, because we're identifying these things, we're telling people about these things. We're seeking input from everybody in this community, and we'll continue to do that. So all that being said, give it back to Mark.
That sounds really radical, like radical transparency.
Yeah.
It's a good job.
Yeah.
It's actually Jake.
Yeah, down here. So recommended action, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 2025-03-605, amending provisions of the Village of Lake Zurich Municipal Code to amend and adopt the official comprehensive plan.
Second, please.
I'll second Spacone.
And would you please call the roll, sir?
Trustee Weider.
Aye.
Trustee Chagru.
Aye.
Trustee Riley.
Aye.
Trustee Euchre.
Aye.
Trustee Spacone.
Aye.
Trustee Marks.
Aye.
Okay, thanks again to Tesca and you guys for the great work you did, and we'll probably be talking to you again as we amend this as we go along. This isn't going to happen tomorrow or the next day. You know, we've got to come up with some money to do a lot of these things, and we will. But things can change too, so thanks for the hard work, and stay in touch.
I'll hold on to my chocolates.
Thanks. Okay, that's the end of new business. We'll move on to trustee reports. Any trustee reports tonight from anybody? Jake?
Yeah, I got one down here.
Jake?
I just want to remind everyone in the community of the resumption of yard waste pickup beginning in April. But as part of that, I don't know that everyone's privy, but composting food waste is part of that program, and it's incredibly convenient. So I just looked up some impacts of household composting and wanted to issue the challenge to some of the community to pick it up. Composting reduces household carbon footprint by diverting organic waste that would otherwise decompose anaerobically in landfills, a process that produces methane, a greenhouse gas 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide. Studies suggest that composting at the household level can reduce household waste by up to 30% and significantly reduce landfill burden. Additionally, the compost-enriched soil can sequester carbon and reduce the need for synthetic fertilizers, which have a high carbon footprint in their production, which one of the benefits of this program is the day that Kyle's out shoveling compost, and you can come pick it up in however big of a bucket or a bag you can find for yourself. So just want to remind everybody of that.
Bring your own bucket. Yep. Okay.
I've got one, Mayor, as well.
Yep.
Wednesday, March 19th at the McDonald's on Quinton and Rand is Coffee with a Cop. You can stop by, meet some of your local officers, receive a complimentary cup of coffee, and just ask general questions, stuff that is going on in your neighborhood or just anything that comes to mind. It's a really good initiative. Chief, I appreciate you doing that because, you know, sometimes we just have questions and don't know where to go or don't want to bother people, and this is the perfect opportunity. And they serve Krispy Kreme donuts there now, so win-win, right? Thanks.
Anybody else? Nope. Okay. Staff reports. Anybody got a staff report tonight? Nothing new? Okay. Then that concludes our regular business for tonight. We will be adjourning to executive session, call for the purpose of 5 ILCS 120/2C21, review of executive session minutes, 5 ILCS 120/2C1 personnel, 5 ILCS 120/2C5 purchase or lease of real estate, and 5 ILCS 120/2C6 setting price for sale lease of real estate. There will be no voting action or board business discussed after closed session, so the adjournment of closed session will be the final adjournment and end of the meeting. So at this point, I need a motion and a second to adjourn tonight's meeting to executive session.
So moved, Whiter.
Second, Marks.
And Kyle, call the roll.
Trustee Spacone.
Aye.
Euchre.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Marks.
Aye.
Weider.
Aye.
And Chagru.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned to executive session. Next regular board meeting will be Monday, April 7th, 2025. So thanks for watching. Stay safe.